Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a bit about my last week in games. And as always, I mostly played EVE Online last week, played a little bit every day, although it has been a very busy week for me, which is why there was also only one video next to EVE Talk and then now the Sunday recap. So most of that time was spent just exploring around a little bit, making sure that I did the daily challenge of grabbing a couple of NPC kills and then getting free skill points for that. Of course, also the daily login rewards, there was always two of them, so you got like a BPC and then stockpile, you could say, of skill points that you get later, and then you also get like a Quave buff and a skin. All of these not permanent, unfortunately, so yeah, I don't feel like they're that important, but it's a pretty unique looking skin, so that part is cool. A green theme because of the of course because of the launch of the Mac client, and green for apples, so that's what's going on there. In my exploration, mostly data site stuff again, so on one day it was nothing but relic sites, and then on a couple of other days it was really almost nothing but data sites, which is still okay. I mean, I tend to explore in the all-in-one Ishtar, so I can pretty easily run those data sites as well. Yeah, drop wise it's not that bad, especially when you get some of the new items in the mix as well. A couple of combat sites, and while there was some competition for exploration out there in a Mars space, it is still very quiet around the Dital region. In quite a few systems I ended up being the only player there. Quite a few signatures and anomalies tend to stack up in some of the systems that aren't traveled very often. So overall, it's still a pretty good place to just relax, settle down, do a bit of exploration, and you know, enjoy my evening that way. For PI, we are of course still keeping up with PI on a daily basis, setting up the extractors. I thought about moving, but for now we're actually going to stay where we're at. Basically, I think that the prices are still low enough that the higher taxes will eventually work out, since at the moment, for instance, I am selling my coolants above 10,000 disc pretty easily and consistently, and yeah, the taxes that were paid were on like a 6,000 average price or something, 6,000-7,000 I think it was. So overall, in PI, when you do spot good sell opportunities and you can take advantage of those, you can get even more out of the taxes that you paid when you extract the materials from low prices, unless of course you have your own setup and so then you pay taxes to yourself. That would be cool too, of course, but we'll probably have to do that in a wormhole or something like that. Next up, we've got the announcement. So we still don't know a lot. I still think that EVE Vegas will probably be the time where CCP will unveil some more of their plans and things like that. We do know that the new beacon for the capital gameplay is going to come out next week, and then the next quadrant, the fourth quadrant for EVE Online this year, is going to start next month in November, which should be Q4, and thus the end of scarcity. Sort of hoping that we get some interesting news, some cool stuff to do and to explore, and that way we can, you know, set our goals into EVE Online. At the moment, it is all about the gateway quadrant, which has focused very heavily both on what they've developed, right, the Mac client, getting EVE to the Epic Store, and you know, attracting new players with the new player experience. So all of that and all of the marketing has been focused on that. Once we get into Q4, I do think that the tone will shift to like new development, interesting new stuff, potentially also story stuff, like what we see with the Triglavians that have apparently deployed orbital shipyards where they're building lots of massive stuff yet again. So that's pretty cool. We will of course keep a close eye on that, but overall that's really all I did last week. Except, you know, not in game, but I did keep an eye on what GGG is planning for Path of Exile in the next league, which is starting next week as well, on Friday if I'm not mistaken. That looks very interesting and promising. We already knew from their like manifestos that they were going to make it a little bit easier to basically build up your defenses, which I think is good because that's obviously something that I always struggle with, but it looks like they're really revamping revamping a lot of stuff with even the passive skill tree, getting like masteries that you can then choose, and changing a lot of stuff in order to make more build variety possible. It does look very, very interesting and very promising to me personally. The league mechanic as well seems to be pretty cool. Basically fill up a progress bar, go into an alternate dimension, slay demons, potentially get rewards. So that to me is pretty cool as well. And then some improvements as well for the game, like less clicking, because not every single identifying scroll is going to drop separately and things like that. That will definitely make things a lot better as well. So yeah, definitely a league that I'm going to jump into late next week, probably on the weekend, you know, the first day. Leave that to the really hardcore guys that want to go through waiting queues and things like that, and maybe even with you know, emergency patches. But I do look forward to that one, and so that's definitely on the menu for me, the next league for Path of Exile, and that will be starting next week. And yeah, that was basically my last week in games, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.